back to Vene News. Today we'll be covering some very important events that occurred in Venezuela this week, of February 1st to February 8th. Our first headline today is, the President of Venezuela, Maduro, insists to Obama that there's an American coup against Venezuela. This was done because of Obama's recent publication of the National Defense Strategy document, in which Obama stated that the United States supports citizens belonging to countries where the right of democracy is at risk, such as Venezuela. The president of Venezuela was extremely angry because Venezuela was used as an example of a government in which a democracy may be threatened. He argued in a video of retaliation to the document directed at President Obama, stating that Venezuela is fully democratic and that the information given about the risk of the rights of the people is false. He is angry that such a statement will create uprising throughout his country, and President Maduro ends his speech by asking for support to organizations such as CELAC and UNASUR against the United States document. Our next headline today is that Nelson Mandela's lawyer will create international consciousness against Leopoldo López's case. Leopoldo López is a Venezuelan political leader that was arrested on February 18, 2014, almost a year ago, because he initiated an uprising against the Venezuelan government. Here we will show a picture of Lopez being detained by the government. Erwin Cutler, who was Mandela's lawyer, is deputy of the Liberal Party in Canada, will be the legal advisor of Leopoldo López even though he cannot travel to Venezuela. Cutler will not be involved with Leopoldo's defense in Venezuela, but he will present the case in Canada, United Nations, and to the European Union. Another headline that we will cover today is that tension between the U.S. and Venezuela has been created because of sanctions. On Monday, Washington imposed new restrictions of visas to Venezuelan officials and their families. In response to this, Venezuelan President Maduro accused Vice President Joe Biden of planning his overthrow. The Department of State said that Venezuela officials that are retired or still active that are believed to have had or are involved in any kind of human rights abuse or have been involved in corruption would be restricted to enter the United States. And for the first time, Washington also said that close family members to these subjects will also have these restrictions. Our last piece of news before heading to our final segment is that CNE, who is the committee involved with organizing the elections, is evaluating the advancement of the elections to elect the members for the Assembly. President Maduro is planning to move the election from December to the middle of the year, even though the Constitution states in Article 219 that Assembly elections should be done in December, starting with a new Assembly in January. The reason for this is yet unknown. We will now move on to our next segment of Vene Tweets to see what the politicians were tweeting this week.
Our first tweet of this week is by Maria Corina Machado, who is a political leader of the opposition. In her tweet, she is referring back to our first headline about President Maduro asking for help from UNASUR against the United States document. Her tweet stated, UNASUR, the Latin American citizens are aware of what Venezuela is encountering today. There is a military mafia and dictatorship which is in its last phase. The next tweet we have is by Enrique Capriles, who was a candidate in the past presidential elections. He tweets, "You are an embarrassment, Nicolás Maduro, and what is written is that you're on your way out. You are an expensive heir to the history of our Venezuela." Our last tweet we have for today is by President Nicolás Maduro, in which he tweets, "Everyone who wants to work is welcome and can count on me, but whoever follows the economic war against the people will face me." These are all the tweets we have today. Thank you so much for watching Vene News. See you next week.